Well, hello everyone, and welcome on board this afternoon's Sunset Safari here in Djuma Private Game Reserve in the Sabi Sands. We're in a beautiful, beautiful part of South Africa, in the northeastern corner of our country, close to the Mozambican border, and we are part of a massive national park called the Kruger. And fortunately, the animals that we see here have got free rein for hundreds of kilometers in untouched wilderness, so we are really privileged to be examining and adventuring through this place and all the animals that live within it. My name's Scott, and on camera with me this afternoon is VM. It's not just myself out. Brent is out in another vehicle with Jean-Dre on camera, and they have gone off in search for the 6 lioness with 3 little cubs. Now, interestingly, it wasn't just the 2 adult lioness with the 3 cubs that we've been seeing for the last few weeks, you could say, but a 3rd lioness has joined, also from their former Styx pride. They've kind of split up into different groups, but one of those lionesses rejoined an older lioness, and there's also a dominant male, or a large male lion in that area, or at least there was this morning. So good prospects there. He's hopefully going to find them. And we were heading towards Treehouse Dam, which is just around the corner. We lost Karula, a female leopard, that we spent just about 3 hours with this morning. It was an incredible sighting, and to spend that long with a leopard really is a huge, huge privilege. So we were on our way there when we spotted this wonderful big giraffe. He's a very large male, and we've got lucky. The reason why he hasn't moved a muscle, or possibly a contributing factor why he hasn't moved since we saw him, is that there's a large warthog feeding in the bush behind us, but it's quite some way off, and he's keeping a very close eye on that warthog. He probably can't make out exactly what it is. I'm not sure what he's looking at down there, so possibly another animal that's confusing him. But isn't he beautiful? Very, very dark coats. Their coats will vary in color depending on the individual, but it's often the large old bulls that will go this dark charcoal black. And we can tell that he's a male because of those bald horns on the top of his head. They're not actually horns, they're called ossicones. They would have been horns many, many years ago before he evolved into the animal he is today. But the females will have little black tufts of fur growing out of those little ossicones. It is very hot, so that could be another contributing factor as to why he's got some of his body in the shade, and also why he's just relaxing and allowing the cool breeze to blow over him. It's about 25 degrees Celsius, which is 77 degrees Fahrenheit, to give you an idea of the exact temperature we're experiencing. And it's a very dry afternoon. Our winters are exceptionally dry, and as you can see from the vegetation, there's not much greenery around. And on top of it just being winter, we did have a low rainfall season during our summer months, so it's not as dry, or it's drier than it should be at this time of the year. And that means animals like the giraffe and other herbivores are going to have a tough year. They're going to really battle to find enough food towards the end of winter. But that's good news for the carnivores. It will be a bumper year when they can make the most of weakening herbivores. Naturally, if an animal doesn't have access to a lot of food, it may lose health and lose condition, and that way become easier prey for the predators. So, like I say, good prospects for the predators that live out here. And what we might do is try and get you a little bit closer to this giraffe. And I forgot to mention a very happy 4th of July to all of the American viewers, and I hope you're having a wonderful day celebrating. I've just got word that Brent has found himself in a very interesting scenario, and he would like you guys to rush over and join him. So we're not going to get closer to this giraffe. I might hang around here, and maybe you can come and have a look a little bit later. Either way, we will be seeing you later, and enjoy what Brent has in store for you.
welcome back everyone. As you can see, we've headed straight out to where the lions are lying, and most of them are fast asleep, but the joy of little cubs is they remain a little bit active, so they're sort of pawing and playing at each other. Just finished having a drink almost seconds ago, and there we go. You can see they're sort of still semi-active. Eyes are open at least, and there's two at the back having a little tussle. So for those of you who might be new, welcome on a live African safari. You are looking at these little lions at the exact same time as we are. My name is Brent, and I'm going to be your guide, and I've got Jandre on camera with me today. So we are currently with what is called the Styx Breakaway Pride, and we have normally 2 lionesses and the 3 little cubs, and there's a 3rd lioness at the moment. And for those of you who are really interested in what we're seeing and what's going on, you are able to ask us questions about what we're seeing on safari and what is happening around us, and you can do that by using the hashtag Safari Live if you're on Twitter, or you can use our email address, which is questions@wildearth.tv, and you can ask us about what we're seeing or any things that you're wondering about the bush. So all the members of this pride are quite hungry, so we're definitely going to be hanging around in their general area. There's a very good chance that they might hunt, and also to the right of us is a big adult male. You can see him just behind this fallen down knob thorn in front of us, and he is also snoozing. And those 2 little ones still having a little tussle, but look like they might go have a little snooze after a really nice big meal of mother's milk. That is the one nice thing about any cubs. They're generally a lot more active than adults. Especially while the safety of the adults are around. When they're left behind while the adults go hunting, then they'll keep very still and sleep. But now that there's adults around, they will be quite active, even if it's not hugely active. Hi, Donna, who's contacting us via email. Welcome on the Sunset Safari, Donna. Great to have you on the back of the vehicle. And look at those little bundles of joy. Donna would like to know whether these lionesses and cubs have eaten recently. Well, the cubs have just finished a meal from Mom. But it looks like all three of the adult lionesses could definitely do with a meal. And there is also a Matimba male here who also looked quite hungry. So isn't this just a really peaceful little scene? So you can see there's 3 cubs here. That is quite a normal sized litter for lions in this area. I think if I remember my reading for the Greater Kruger area, the average litter size is 2.7 lion cubs per adult on average. So obviously this is a good normal sized litter. And secondly, the mortality rate in this area is very, very high. So you're looking at a mortality rate of over 60% of all cubs born will die. And the reason for this is because there are a lot of other predators around. But I've got a question for you guys. So what do you think? What other predator, or which predator, kills the most of the lion cubs in the Greater Kruger area? Which predator kills most of the lion cubs in the Greater Kruger area? And you can send your answers to questions@WildEarth.tv, or you can use the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. So there's that big Matimba male lying just off to the side. I saw him briefly this morning. He looks like the hairy-bellied male. So we've got a question from Donna in North Carolina. Good afternoon, Donna, and welcome on the Sunset Safari. Donna would like to know, do we know whether it's male or female yet? Christine, from North Carolina. Well, Christine, we do. I had a good look this morning, and it looks to be 1 young male and 2 little females. So there's a bit of pandemonium. Someone's car won't start behind us, and they're trying to get it started. So there's quite a little a comedy of errors going on behind me, but it looks like they're all sorted now. But the way I was able to initially, without having a close look, sort of decipher that there were 2 females and 1 male, you can already see the one is slightly bigger. And also when he was suckling off his mom, those of you who watch regularly, I don't know if you remember when we had those 2 Matimba males eating a warthog, and how the one tries to position its body completely over it and the other one sort of tries to eat underneath. So we saw that happening with the cub. The one cub took the middle ground, tried to literally cover all the other teats, even though it was only suckling on one from the other cubs. And that's very typical male lion behavior, and especially manifesting at this age. All lions will do it, but that he is a little bigger and he's a little bit more dominant around when they're feeding. So that's what initially sort of started leading me to suspect it's a male. And then obviously that he's a little bigger and the 2 females look a little smaller. So it looks to be 1 young male and 2 females. And they have gone fast to sleep now. So while we wait to see if these little critters decide to do something a little bit more entertaining, Scott has managed to get into a really great position with that giraffe. So don't worry, we'll be keeping an eye, babysitting so to speak, and we'll be back with you a little later.
Well, isn't that wonderful that you've got to see those tiny little cubs drinking? What a sight that must have been. Now, look at this beautiful marula tree we parked under. The fork I'm pointing up to now was where we watched Djuma feeding on a impala that he killed. That was, I think, in January. So, interesting memories from this marula tree. Now we are currently with a beautiful big giraffe. We haven't left him, and we've got a little bit closer, so take a look and enjoy. He's looking still, I think, at that warthog that we saw feeding on the other side of the road. It's probably be about 100 meters away. And I think it's a combination of that keeping him amused, you could say, and also the fact that it is a warm day and we can expect a lot of the animals to be on the go slow. Look at those little tufts of hair sticking off his chin. They've got really strange faces, and also their nostrils are quite interesting. I'm hoping he's going to face directly towards us, because if he does, you'll then see his very long eyelashes. They've got incredibly long eyelashes. And I guess this helps to protect their eyes when feeding. They do have their heads in the trees a lot of the time. And here's a beautiful big male in his prime, probably standing about 4.5 to 5 meters tall. Basically 2.5 regular doors high. I can hear an oxpecker. I'm not sure if it's on his body. Oh, there it is. Now that he's turned his head side profile, we can see an oxpecker. And I think the oxpecker's been hiding in the shade from those little horn-like structures, because we haven't seen it feeding on him. And let's see, yep, you can see it's trying to move into the shade. The little oxpecker's got its head in the shade now. So taking a moment to relax on this mobile unit of food for the oxpeckers. They feed on little ticks, blood-sucking parasites, and this giraffe will provide the oxpecker with lots of food. You may notice its bright yellow eye and bright red beak. It's the red-billed oxpecker. What a wonderful sight. Such a large animal and a tiny animal living together in harmony. Lynn would like to know a question about that little horn-like structure that the oxpecker is sitting on. It's called an ossicone, and she would like to know if they break when the giraffe are fighting. Thanks for sending this question through. It's a good one, Lynn, and not that I've seen, but then again, I haven't seen giraffe fighting on too many accounts. I have from time to time seen bent ossicones that could have been broken, but I'm not sure if it was a birth defect or from fighting. They are very short, and that's what makes me less inclined to think that they would snap when fighting. If they were a bit longer, it would be more plausible, but this is just my little theory. It's an incredible sight to behold when they do fight. They can actually knock one another out, and what they'll do is they'll stand side to side and swing their necks into their chest, neck and heads, and there can be some almighty leverage with those long necks, and they understandably extremely powerful animals, an animal of that size, and hard to believe that there have been some knockout blows where the dominant giraffe will leave his opponent fast asleep to wake up in terror wondering what's happened. Well, it looks like another oxpecker's joined. Interesting. I'm still surprised that he's looking so intently in that area, and I said to VM earlier, maybe there is a leopard lying there that we just haven't seen. And that would be interesting to know. Anne in Texas is interested to know how good is the giraffe's eyesight, and it's not incredible, so you couldn't compare it to that of a vulture that can see many, many kilometers, but it is decent. Their height advantage allows them to detect predators from quite far away, and their eyesight is decent. I've seen them spot cheetah in areas with open plains from large distances, and they often will help us locate animals like cheetah and leopard and lion, as they will all stare intently, just like he's doing, at them. But they can send you on false alarms, and in this case I'm almost certain he's still looking at that warthog. The oxpeckers are showing a bit more signs of life, and looks like they're beginning to feed. A lot of the ticks will latch onto the softer areas in around the eyes and the neck and the ears, and this is where the oxpeckers search for their little tasty treats. You'll notice there's a fairly stiff breeze this afternoon, and that makes for good hunting conditions for the predators. And that is the plan for a little bit later on. Just to let you know, we are going to go and look for Karula, the female leopard who we saw hunting this morning. Like I say, favorable conditions for them. Another question through from Susan, and she would like to know, so I was just taking a close look at the giraffe, she would like to know if the hair on a giraffe's neck will stick up in a straight fashion, almost like that of a zebra, because I think Susan would have been told that zebras' manes will stand vertically when they're healthy, and they'll droop down to the side, the hair running along the back of their neck. And yes, well, sorry, no, the giraffe's hair is not nearly as long as the zebra's, so it wouldn't be long enough to flop down. So it simply doesn't have the right kind of hair on the back of their neck for that to work. Their hair is very short, and what I'll do is I'll move the vehicle forward a little bit to try and show you how short that hair is. A zebra's hair will be about 4 inches long, that runs along the back of its neck, whereas a giraffe is very, very short. So it's not applicable for them. There are a few bushes in the way here. You will be able to notice what I mean. It's very, very short. That's not to say it's too short to flop down to the side, I guess, but it's not something that I've ever noticed. Look at how beautiful that dark coat is. He really is a very, very fine specimen. So the zebra's hair will be about 3 times as long as that. And again, I'm not saying that I'm necessarily correct, but it's just not something that I've noticed. Look at how awesome this is with the oxpecker now. Oh, time for a snack. Finally. Have you realized it was a warthog after all, and now you can eat in peace? Look at that tongue. So dexterous the way they can curl it around the specific branches and pluck off what they need. Wow. What a beautiful, beautiful animal. And he's disappeared into some thick vegetation now, so we'll try and reposition again. Teresa from Ohio would like to know, how much does the neck weigh? Good question, Teresa, and I would say probably about 120 to 150 kilograms, so about 300 pounds. It could be even a bit more than that, depending on where you think the neck actually starts, because I guess it all merges in quite smoothly from the shoulders. Making a real meal out of this. We'll get out of here eventually and back into a decent spot to view him. Sharon in Pittsburgh is interested to know, why do they have such short little horns? How can they even offer any protection? Well, they've evolved and adapted to not require long horns for fighting, and their method of fighting with their very long neck is more suited to having those short little bludgeons that they can use to batter their opponents. Like I said, if they were any longer, they would probably snap off. And it's a vestigial limb, so basically you get some animals that have evolved over the millennia that have still got signs or traces of former body parts that they would have had and required, and then all that is left now is the very small remain. And they would have had long horns probably many, many years ago, but as their necks became longer and their fighting method would have had to change as their necks became longer, their horns would have then shortened, because it wouldn't have made sense to try and swing that massively long neck around with 2 extra long horns sticking out of it. It would be all too much going on there. And because he is heading off, I think what we might be able to do here is for me to get out and do a height comparison. We haven't done it for quite a while, and it's great to see how much taller they are than us. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out now and very slowly move up to him, because we've spent so much time here. He shouldn't run off, and I will move very, very slowly, and then you can take a screenshot and you'll get a good idea of how much taller they are than us. So take a closer look and get some screenshots, please. Good. And he's just looking back at us, wondering, what on earth was I doing? Is it really worth making such a fool out of yourself, comparing your height to mine? Well, it has been a very splendid time spent with this beautiful giraffe, but I fear that I am getting ants in my pants and need to go and search for something else. But before I do so, it sounds like Brent has also been searching for something else, and he's got lucky. Enjoy.
So welcome back, guys. While we're sitting with those lions, I just heard some branches crashing and whatnot, and there's a little herd of elephants that are probably less than 100 meters, less than actually, probably about 70 meters from where the lions are, and I'm hoping they might go play in the mud down here at Twin Dams. It looks like they might not. They might head off feeding, so we're just going to watch them for a little bit before they disappear. What a great way to start the 4th of July sunset safari. Lion cubs, giraffe, and elephant. Just going to move opposite them again. Maybe they might go throw a little bit of mud around. So guys, you're not actually going to believe this, but we nearly drove over a lion as well. There's another 2 lions to our right. Copy, Craig. At the moment, there's 3 stations now. There's 2 sightings running concurrently. There's Ndlovu at the dam itself. There's also Madoda and Mafaza and Ngala, probably about 250 meters from the rest of the Ngala that are lying up just to the south of Twin Dams Road. Now you're on the eastern side and playing in the mud. Look at the little guy coming in. Charging. Oh, doesn't that look like fun? Hot day. Let's go have a mud bath. So there's a couple of different reasons why elephants would do this. Oh wait. I'm just gonna let you guys enjoy this for a second before I start talking again. So as I was saying, there's a couple of different reasons elephants will utilize the mud like these guys are doing. One is to keep cool. The other is to deal with certain parasites like ticks and mites. So what will happen is they'll get them encased in that mud, and then when that mud dries, they become encased in it, and then when they rub against branches or trees, those parasites come off with them. But these young bulls just seem to like doing it for fun. as well. They seem to really enjoy just throwing a bit of mud around. You can actually hear them slurping up the water. Standing by, Alex. FM, Alex, at the moment I'm down at the dam itself. There's a small breeding herd of elephant here. There's also a second one unknown Satya Ngala lying up probably about 150 meters from the last, or from the rest of that pride. I think Aubrey is with where the cubs are at the moment, and Craig was interested in making his way. Myself and Dan are still in the area, but not 100% sure of vehicle movements for the moment. FM, but there is quite a distance between. It's almost 2 sightings now, probably 200 meters. And that's affirmative, or mud bathing at the moment. Standing by. Copy. I will do. Hi, Kevin. Welcome on the Sunset Safari. As you can see, Kevin's just saying, wow, this is Twin Dams is just a mud puddle now. And it's a mud puddle that elephants are loving at the moment. If you go a little bit to the left, genre, they are sitting down, lying in the mud, really getting themselves a good mud casing. That looks like a lot of fun. Hi, Susan from Long Island, New York. Susan would like to know whether it's true if you can tell the age of an elephant by the length of its tusks. When they are quite young, you can, Susan, but as they get a bit older, not really. So once they sort of get past the 2-3 year tushes, it's very difficult because, as you can see, you can have elephants that are full adult females that have tusks at the same size of a sort of a 10-year-old bull. So only when they're very young is that true. A little boy being quite boisterous there, throwing some mud around. Next, unfortunately, there's Djuma moving sort of south and east towards the Molwati. They've finished at the dam. So the eddies are disappearing off, but as we sidled down to catch the elephants as they were stopping to drink, Chandra just sort of whispered over my shoulder, "Male lion! Male lion!" So there's actually, we'll have a quick look now what's going on, and from the information being found out that third lioness that is with the little guys is normally with another elder lioness, and there's been some mating, and I'm just going to show you quickly here. So there we go. So this looks like the ginger matimba. Move forward a little bit. How's that? So there's the ginger matimba, and then there's that second lioness lying behind. So in total, within this couple of 100 meters we have here, we have the 2 males, we have 4 females and 3 cubs. So I asked a question a little bit earlier, and it was, what kills the most lion cubs in the Greater Kruger National Park? So we got some answers coming in, so here we go. So well done, Elise, Raisa, Ginny, Connie, and lots of other you. The greatest killer of lion cubs in the Greater Kruger National Park is male lions, like this guy lying right next to us here. So the reason this happens is when the male lions come in and they chase out the dominant males, and they chase out the dominant males, and what then happens is they immediately will go kill all the cubs that are in the area, and what this does is forces the females to come into estrus again quite regularly. But quite interestingly, sometimes that first estrus that they come in after the male lions have killed the cubs is almost a false estrus. And the reason for this is that they do that to make sure that these new male lions will be successful later on. So it's quite an interesting adaptation that they do that. So they will almost always put on a false estrus the first, so once the new male coalition is taken over, and only sort of 3 to 4 months later, once they're convinced that the male lion coalition is going to stay around longer, is when they will actually go into estrus and actually start producing cubs. So a very, very interesting little evolutionary adaptation there. Hi, Susan from Alabama. Susan would like to know whether this male lion poses any threat to the cubs. No, he doesn't, Susan. They fall within they're more than likely his progeny, and therefore he will not try to kill them. Although I have seen male lions eat their own cubs before, but that is only in very extreme circumstances. And that male lion had been in a fight with other male lions, and he was in really, really bad condition, and he needed the sustenance. So he ate his own cubs, and in doing so, he would give himself a chance to recover. And a lot of animals will do that, and because they know they'll be able to breed again, where there is lion cubs, they know will have a very low chance of survival. So isn't this fantastic? We have elephants, lions behind us, lions to the left of us. Hi, Laura from Indiana. Happy 4th of July, Laura. Laura would like to know, can we assume that one of these males is the father since they haven't harmed them? Well, Laura, we can't. We can assume that one or both these males think they're the father. Quite interestingly, in a recent study done in Namibia, 48% of lion cubs born were not to the pride males. They were to males that sneak around the peripheries, and females will sometimes actively seek out those males to try ensure genetic variation. But these males will think that they are the father, that's why, and they won't harm them. There is a 50% chance that they are the father as well, though. But it's a 50-50 paternity test, this one. So in a lot of these cases, it's all about securing genetic difference, and a lot of these little fail-safes are sort of instinctual. And there's the last of the ellie disappearing. And there's a big grey bottom off into the thorn bushes. So we're going to make our way back towards the cubs shortly. In a little bit. There's a couple of other vehicles there, so we're going to give them a chance to view before we go back there. Yeah, Craig, there's two locks at the moment, you could possibly say. There's a one in on one side just to the west of the dam, and then the rest with the Montans are further to the sort of north. I'm not sure what's happening with the Montans. I know Aubrey's there, and I think Abel was making his way. Hi, Sammy, who's 12 years old from the Dayton Children's Hospital. Happy 4th of July, Sammy. Great to have you on the back of the vehicle with us. Sammy would like to know whether the males would protect those cubs, or is it just the females? Sammy, the males would most definitely protect the cubs from other male lions, from hyenas, from leopards, but because they don't spend as much time with the cubs as the females do quite a lot more protecting. But a male lion's job is to protect the whole area around. So the whole area that the female lions and the cubs might meander, that these male lions will move around protecting from other male lions. Oh, there's some more elephants. One elephant at least looks like might come down. Hi, Dennis in Massachusetts. Dennis says he's amazed that these lions are not reacting to the elephants. And there's some ellies still there. This one doesn't look like one of the ones who was in the mud bath with us. Well, Dennis, the lions know that the elephants can't see them where they're lying down at the moment. So they're quite safe. And they'd rather not alert the elephants to their presence, then the elephants might chase them. Hi, Christina from Pittsburgh. I wonder if you're a Pittsburgh Penguins ice hockey fan. Christina, thank you very much. I am quite fond of my hat. Christina said I have a nice hat. Christina would like to know, has an elephant ever got stuck in the mud? Yes, Christina, it happens actually quite frequently, especially at this time of the year, and especially in areas where there's quite a lot of pressure and less water. Elephants will often be forced into very deep mud to try to find drinking, and they end up getting stuck. So that elephant is not going to go play in the mud like the others. I think we're going to go have a quick look back at those little guys, see what they've been up to. So let's go back and have a look where the other little guys are. Thanks, Orbs. Enjoy, guys. Hi, Adam from Mississippi. Adam would like to know, or says it noticed it looked like the elephants were using their feet to dislodge the mud to make it into slush so they could spray it on themselves more easily. Adam, that is exactly what they're doing, and they do that quite often, and it obviously makes it a little bit more liquid, and then they are able to spray it onto their bodies a little bit more easily. We're going to make our way back to where those little guys were, see what they've been up to. If you just follow my vehicle, you'll see where they are. Probably about 50 meters in front of my vehicle at the moment. I affirm, the others are lying up where I was earlier. And there's also Ngala there. Hello, kitty cats. We're back. And it doesn't look like they've moved much at all, but we're going to try and get ourselves in there now. See, let's move the little knobthorn tree. There we go. So just to recap, I know it's been a bit confusing, but while I recap, let's have a look. There's some open eyes on the little ones. So, just to recap, it's a bit confusing with all the lions around. When I first arrived here on the Sunset Safari, I only knew of these, well, outside of the cubs, we have 4 adults. So, 4 adults, and the 3 cubs, there's 7 lions here. So, there's 3 adult females, 1 adult male in this position. And then lying about 150 meters away is another adult male and another female. So they all are Styx lions, but it's possible that these are aunts or even the mother of the babies. Oh, aren't they sweet? Oh, he's going to attack that grass. Or even better, attack a sibling. So heading back in for another suckle. So hungry little guy, that one. And then, as what quite often happens with siblings, well, if you got some, I want some. But mom's tired of being suckled upon. Oh, there we go, over the top. Little greedy guts. Hi, Christine from Canada. Hopefully you're having a wonderfully warm summer in Canada. Christine would like to know, what age are these little lions, and at what age will they go out on their own? Well, Christine, these guys are about 3 months old now, but they will only ever head out there, and the females will always stay, well, not always, but will generally stay with their natal pride throughout their life, or with a pride of females throughout their life. Whether it's the young male, because there's 2 young females and 1 young male. The young male will probably around 3 to 3.5 years old be pushed out by the dominant males, and he will then move off by his own or try to form a coalition with other young males at that stage. So you can see that competitiveness and that aggressiveness that comes through when there are adult lions feeding on kills, even at this age. Thirsty little guys. Isn't that just sweet? So there's actually some dominance display going on here. This is quite interesting. So they were originally from the same pride, and they broke away, and you saw a female lion sort of almost pseudo-mating with the other lioness, and that was a slight little dominance display, and that is the lioness standing at the moment does look a little older. Earlier today they were actually snarling at each other, so it looks like they're trying to maybe reaffirm some of the pride bonds. And Mom rolled over with all cubs in tow. So we're seeing a little bit more action now. The temperature's dropped a little bit. Oh, drop all the babies. As you can see, just slightly when the cubs get a little bit close, this older female is still snarling a little bit, so she's not completely comfortable with the little ones yet. So guys, there still seems to be a bit of confusion amongst everyone out there about which lions these are. So there we go, you can see perfect example there. She's not comfortable. That is a new lioness, an older lioness we haven't seen with the two cubs, with the two lioness with the cubs before. She's definitely related, otherwise she probably would have killed the cubs by now. She is one of the other Styx lions that we don't see regularly, and they're split into a lot of different groups, so I cannot be 100% sure which Styx lion, but you can see she's still not comfortable with the cubs, whether those two now there are the mother and the other female that we see regularly with the mother. Now, the lioness that this newcomer is generally seen with is lying up 100 meters behind us with the other Matimba male. So in total, including the cubs, there are 9 lions around us. So we have the 4 adults plus the 3 cubs here, and then we have another 2 adults, an adult male and an adult female about 100 meters behind us. Hi, Gilly from Milwaukee. Always great to have you on the back of the vehicle, Gilly. Gilly would like to know, why aren't the lion cubs making that cute little noise anymore that we've heard them make in the past? It's probably because they're not that hungry, Gilly, and they will make that noise when they're begging for milk. At the moment, they're not begging for milk, they're attacking mom's tail, which is a great plaything. Isn't this just the sweetest thing you've ever seen? Almost no need for words. I'm just going to sit really quietly and just watch these cubs for 30 seconds or a minute. So a mom's tail is a really important plaything for little lions, and even when they get older, you will see them play with the tail regularly. Look at that, isn't that cute? So we got a question from Jim in Georgia. Happy 4th of July, Jim. Jim would like to know, what is the best weather for predators to hunt in? Rainy, cloudy, sunny, windy. Generally, Jim, the best weather I've noticed is very dark, cloudy nights, stormy nights. They got pulled along by the tail. Stormy nights with high winds. What that does is it affects the prey species' ability to smell and hear, and especially a gusting wind. So sort of dark, sort of stormy and windy nights are the best weather for hunting. And as I said, that's one of the really great things about cubs, is that they are quite inactive, being lions, and they will sleep a long time. But while the adults are around, even when it is a bit warmer, when the adults are sleeping, they tend to be a little bit more playful. There we go, hungry again. So they are very, very hungry little guys. Today they seem to be feeding much better. This is about the 3rd or 4th time we've watched them feed since we've been here. I'm just going to try reposition the vehicle again so we can possibly get into a slightly better spot. Watch your head there, Djuma. We've got to get back past that big branch. Just pass it to me. Spot we got ourselves into here. Oh, hello. Not bad. Let's put that down. We'll make it there. Not quite. camera. There we go.
See if we can get a really nice
Little side-on view or over the belly view of those little guys. So we can sneak a peek through the trees there. Watch out for this branch on the left here, Jeandre. Got the gap there through there. Have a look. Evening, Rumay. Welcome on the sunset safari. Rumay would like to know, why do I think this third female has joined with the pride again? Well, Rumay, because she felt like it. It's very difficult to say. These two lions are originally from the same pride as that female, and they do sometimes join and break and join again. And who's to say why? Maybe it could be that they're feeling pressure from other lions in the area and they feel they might need to have a bigger pride again. So that could be a possibility. It could be just that they happen to be moving through the same area at the same time and happen to join up again. So there's lots of different possibilities, Renee, and I wish I knew what went through a lion's head most of the time. There's Auntie, fast asleep. Hi, Matt from Texas. Matt would like to know, would the auntie who's lying next to them now at the moment also allow the cubs to play with her tail? Most definitely, Matt. Unlike that other female, she would have been with these cubs almost since birth, so she would have definitely let the cubs play with her tail. And if this other lioness does spend quite a lot of time with them, then she will also probably come to let them play with their tail. Craig, do you know where those other Ngala are? So the other two, if you take this western side road here, you'll literally, the males are right out in the open on the grass to the left of the road, probably a meter from the road.
The one that runs to the fire road?
Yeah. Going to cuddle with Mom. Hi, Virginia, who's contacting us via Twitter, this Sunset Safari. Virginia would like to know, at what age do the cubs get the pom-pom on the tail? Well, Virginia, they'll start developing it already. You'll notice there is a distinct sort of darker patch on the end of their tails, but it'll only be distinct, really properly distinct, by the time they're about 6 months old. I can see the black tip to the tail already developing on the little ones if you look carefully, but it'll fluff out and probably be nice and visible by the time they're 6 months old. by Lynn, who's also on Twitter on this fine 4th of July sunset safari. Lynn would like to know, when the female who's currently got these 3 cubs, at what age would she start mating again and have another litter? Well, Lynn, that is a very interesting question. She probably, let's take a hypothetical situation that she succeeds to rear all 3 of these cubs to adulthood. She would probably only start mating again once they were about 2 to 2.5 years old. Unless all of the cubs were killed, then she would start mating again within the next 10 days, even if the cubs were killed today. So it all depends on whether she successfully raises the litter or loses the litter. Look at that little, you saw that aggressive, I don't know if you heard that little growl at each other. There, some are still feeding, the others wanted to play. Susan would like to know, at what age will these little guys start feeding on meat at the kill? Susan, they're already feeding on meat at the kill if the mothers bring them back there. So from even as young as 2 months, and now at 3 months, they will start feeding on meat, but they are generally still mostly dependent on mother's milk. Okay, let's move around again so we can get a nice open view of these little guys. Watch your head. Lots of thorns on that one. How's that, children? We'll see if this works. Genevieve, welcome on the Sunset Safari, Genevieve. Genevieve would like to know if I've noticed any feistiness in particular out of the 3. Definitely, there's a young male who seems to be a lot more feisty, specifically around the feeding, around the nipples and that, and he's slightly bigger as well. So being a male, he would be a little bit more aggressive and dominant around feeding times and with his sister siblings. Definitely, since the last time I saw them, which was about a month ago, and they're about 2 months old, they're definitely far more sure on their feet than they were. They're tripping over less things, but still by no means quite the most skillful little guys. Isn't that sweet? Amazing that these little guys are going to possibly grow up to be the apex predators in the African bushveld. So Judith from North Carolina noticed that when the mother stood up, her teats did not seem that enlarged. Judith, she's still producing milk, but she is quite hungry. That's probably why, and it is completely normal. I mean, when I say she's quite hungry, she's in no means in danger of wasting away, but she could deal with a meal quite shortly. Oh, game's on. Third one about to get involved, after a stretch, of course. by Chris on Twitter. Chris would like to know how big or how heavy these little guys are. These guys are still quite small, probably a similar size to a fat domestic cat, and they probably weigh about 2 kilograms, or maybe 2.5 kilograms. So in pounds, 10 pounds is 4.5 kilograms, so under 10 pounds still. 8, 9, or maybe 7 to 8 pounds, somewhere around there. 2.5 to about 3.5 kilograms. So I'm going to try and move now that they keep moving to get them out in the open again. So we're just going to take a little while to move around. I don't want to disturb them, so I'm going to take the long way around. While we're doing that, Kathy from Memphis is asking, what is allo grooming? Well, Kathy, allo grooming is mutual grooming of a social animal. So lions do it, hyenas do it, dwarf mongoose do it. And specifically to reference to predators. And the reason they do this is to reaffirm the bonds between the community, the pride or the clan. Or yes, this looks like a good gap. And we can duck under this one, Jean-Jacques. There we go. Let's make sure. There's the male. He's over there. So we've got a very cheeky little guy who has now actually come closer to us while we were driving to come investigate to see what we were up to. And that's probably the young male. He is a little bit more adventurous than the two females. You might come join him, but he will generally be the one who starts that. Hey, little man. Aren't you sweet? Bless you. So it seems we've got a question from Cameron, who's aged 5. Hi, Cameron. Welcome on this 4th of July safari. Cameron would like to know, are the cubs boys or girls? So this little guy we're looking at here, who's a little bit braver and a little bit bigger than the other two, is more than likely a little boy, while the other two are little girls. So I'm not 100% sure yet. It'll only become more apparent as they get a bit older, but it looks like one little boy and 2 little girls. And for those of you who might have joined us a little bit late on this sunset safari, we're sitting with the Styx Breakaway Pride, plus an extra member of the original Styx Pride, one Matimba male right with us here, and about 100 meters from us there is another Styx lioness with another Matimba male. So in total, there are 9 lions around. There are 7 from where we can see right now, but there are 9 in total. And in case you guys are new, we are watching this live. You are watching live little lion cubs out here in the African bush, and we're also interactive, so you can ask us questions about what we're seeing, and you can do that by emailing us at questions@wildearth.tv, or you can use the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. If you're wondering what that clicking noise is, that's just me taking a few photographs. Aren't they just too cute? So it looks like this little guy is thinking about stalking his two siblings, and they are sitting there. So you can see even at this young age, he's showing some of that predatory instinct, or not anymore, he's got distracted by a butterfly. But he was showing some of that predatory instinct, dropping his ears, and getting low to the ground. There we go, he's going in. You can see, even though it looks, there we go. Even though it looks a little bit clumsy, he's still showing those instincts that will become very apparent later in life. I'm just going to move the vehicle into a better spot. They keep moving. Here we go. I don't know if you can hear this tiny little growls. So if you guys are wondering what's happening with old Scotty D has unfortunately not been able to find Karula again. So he's going to go off to Arathusa to see what he can find on that side, and we will catch up with him a little later. But he is moving down a bumpy road, and we don't want to disturb him while he's tracking. Hi everyone, how are you doing?
Hello.
Good, thank you.
It's gorgeous, eh?